First of all, after my Sastang Dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers thousands and thousands of times. The lotus feet of my holy master, Asmadi Paramaraj Tama Guru Pada Padma, Nitya Leela Parvishta Om Vishnu Pad, Ashtottara Sutta Shishimat, Rupanugacharya Varya, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. Secondly, after my Sastang Dandavat Pranam, thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Sri Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Parampara. And after my Pranam to all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. By the causeless mercy of Sri Gauranga Gauranga, we are hearing the account of the glories of Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj from the lips of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. In order to observe the disappearance day of Srila Prabhupada, we're hearing his own words, his own realization in regard to Guru Tattva. So yesterday we heard in the Upakram, in the introduction to the topic of the glories of his Gurudev, Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada said that the conduct of devotees of the highest order is not amenable to any of the rules of propriety that are devised by man for the regulation of the affairs of this world. The affairs of this world are quite safe in the hands of providence. But man in his ignorance cannot realize the fact that it is not given to him to set them right. Very, very powerful. If one sentence will go inside, one's life will be completely transformed. The affairs of this world are safe in the hands of providence. In other words, everything is as it should be. There's nothing to fix. If it's not broken, don't try to fix it. But man in his ignorance cannot realize this fact that it is not given to him to put things right. Everything is in the hand of providence. So essentially, all endeavors on the path of karma, individually and collectively, are attempts to ameliorate the suffering condition of the material world. However, it is designed to be that way. You cannot change it. So this is called karma. Kamani arabhamananam dukkha hatya sukaya cha. Paset paka viparyasam maitunam charnam rinam. Sri Krishna is describing to Uddhav through the conversation with the Navayogendras the history of every human being. Kamanya arabhamananam. The living entities take up some grandiose project in this world. And the project is essentially this: dukkha hatya sukaya cha. I will prevent any miseries from coming near me, and I will acquire all happiness. Now, in order to make this project successful, teamwork is required. Maitunam charnam rinam. two jivas who are same gender, everyone is Prakriti. But one has male body, one has female body, so they come together. And they think that by being in the married life, household life, then together they can work together to make sure no miseries comes to them and they acquire all happiness. All the demands of eating, sleeping, mating and defending they can take care of. And what is the result? Pasyat paka. Yet it is seen, as time matures, viparyasam, the exact opposite happens. That means they destroy all happiness and acquire all misery. The exact opposite of what was the nature, the purpose of their projects, becomes the reality. So this is the nature of karma in this world. And you cannot fix it because it's not broken. It's supposed to be that way. Dukkhalayam shashvatam. Krishna said the material world is a temporary place wherein there is suffering. If you look at the astrological configurations, the stars in the sky, there are more malefic planets than beneficial planets. What does it mean? You cannot fix the sky. And if you go to another universe, you will see it's the same there too. It's not only this universe. Our Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said, one cannot attain the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet without the mercy of Advaita Acharya. Nitai Gaura Sitanath, Premananda, Sitanath. What does it mean to get the mercy of Advaita Acharya? It means to realize the Advaita Tattva. Who is Advaita Acharya? Advaita Acharya is Mahavishnu. And by his glance, he sets Prakriti in motion. Mayadhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. Who is that? It's Advaita Acharya. Mayadhyakshena. My glance. Whose glance? Advaita Acharya. Mayadhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. Everything is sent into motion in this world by the glance of Advaita Acharya. This glance means desire, wish. In other words, every single thing which is happening in the world takes place by the wish of God. Therefore, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, to realize Advaita Tattva means to understand that every situation, even the suffering situations, or especially the suffering situations, have an eternal and auspicious purpose in the development of each jiva. An eternal and auspicious purpose in the evolution of each jiva. Then, Chaudike Ananda Deke. One can see joy in all directions. This is what it means to realize the Advaita Tattva. Then the mind will become free from the constant distraction, the vikshepa, in the form of, I have to fix things that are broken. So, Prabhupada went on to explain that all power belongs to God. It's not that different levels of living entities have different degrees of power. No, Krishna has all power. And whatever power we see manifest, that's His power, manifesting through others. So because God is all good, how can anything which is not good emanate from Him? and the activities of every living being, the power by which everyone performs everything is His power, and He is all good. So, a man is mistaken if he finds anything wrong in the ordering of the affairs of the world. Yet, the ethical instinct, the ethical instinct, no, this is wrong, it should be like this. This ethical instinct is certainly part and parcel of the nature of man. Man is always anxious to distinguish between right and wrong. So the question is this ethical instinct unreal and illusory? And if it is so, how can such illusion itself originate from the source which is all good? So Prabhupada is just asking some very difficult questions. In the academic world, this is called theodicy. Theodicy is the department of philosophy which only deals with the question, if God is good, then where did evil come from? Just this question. So, as long as one's consciousness remains in the plane of duality, the question cannot be answered. Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj regarded everything of the world with an equal eye. He saw everything equally, everyone equally. Yet, he lived in a public latrine. Why? Because he wanted to avoid bad association. So now this becomes like a contradiction. Because on the one hand he sees everyone equally, on the other hand he's taking extreme measures to not associate with certain persons. Especially later, we heard yesterday how he was very opposed to the professional readers of Bhagavatam. And that's why he hid in the public latrine, to avoid the association of the godless people of Navadvip. He warned, Prabhupada said, he warned me, the editor of this journal, against the objectionable practices and opinions of the sects who led an immoral life by professing that it was in conformity with the teaching of Sri Gaurasundar. Means 13 types of apasampradayas. But at the same hand, when he was walking in the street almost blind, and the mischievous street urchins used to throw rocks and dust at him, then he would say, "Oh Krishna, you're very naughty, stop it." And he would treat the mischievous boys in the street as if they are directly Krishna. So we see in this life, this apparently intractable contradiction, that he's beyond duality. He sees boys in the street throwing rocks at him as Krishna being naughty, and yet he's distinguishing, this person is from this apasampradaya, he's from this sampradaya, he's a professional reader of Bhagavatam, I don't want his association. So on the one hand you have this very fine vivek, and on the other hand this total obliviousness to any duality. So in this way, Prabhupada is painting a portrait of his Guru Pada Padma. So yesterday we heard many examples of his various pastimes. Including when he dressed up in the latest fashions with a hat and a well-trimmed beard as a protest against the so-called Paramahamsas of Navadvip who were putting on the white vesh of Babajis. Thinking that they were Paramahamsas, he wanted to disassociate himself from them. So he dressed like a foppish dandy, in the words of Prabhupada. So, then we heard how Prabhupada was explaining that the apparently inactive conduct of the Paramahamsas, like Gokshodas Babaji Maharaj, should not be considered in any way less beneficial to the world than the activity of the preachers. The pure Vaishnavas are traveling everywhere preaching, are benefiting the world. But don't think that the Paramahamsas sitting alone and chanting Harinam are less beneficial to the world than the preachers. This does not apply to you. If you are sitting alone all day chanting, then that does not mean you are making the same benefit as the pure Vaishnava preachers. It means the pure Vaishnava preachers and the pure Vaishnavas who are serving Radha Krishna in their Nitya Lila, both are benefiting the world simply by their presence. So, neither the Paramahamsa who sits alone and chants, or the Paramahamsa who goes out and preaches, neither of them can actually be understood except for by the mercy of the Paramahamsas themselves. Yesterday we discussed how Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur has preached all over the world. But the power to do it came from Gokshodas Babaji Maharaj sitting chanting Harinam in the latrine. So his bhajan, we are reaping the benefit of Srila Gokshodas Babaji Maharaj's bhajan, albeit through the medium of his one Diksha disciple, Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. So he went on to say that the active propaganda of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur for spreading the knowledge of the teachings of the Supreme Lord is in no way different from the practice of devotion of Srila Gokshodas Babaji Maharaj. Srila Gokshodas Babaji Maharaj was illiterate. He did not write any books. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote about 100 books. But Prabhupada, being the Diksha disciple of one and the Shiksha disciple of the other, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave him Harinam. Srila Gokshodas Babaji Maharaj gave him Diksha, and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave Shiksha, like this. So he's the most intimate associate of both of them. Their lifestyles are completely different. Gokshodas Babaji Maharaj is in the renounced order. It's not so widely known, but he was married for 29 years. In his younger life, he was a grain merchant. He was married for 29 years and he became renounced when his wife died. Then he received Babaji Vesh from Bhagavad Das Babaji Maharaj. So, on the other hand, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was Grihastha and had 13 children and a job, sometimes 2 jobs, and was extremely active in the world. But Prabhupada is saying, both are Paramahamsa. And their practices are in no way different from each other, factually speaking. Why? Because outwardly they appear to be different, but inwardly both are situated in their Swarup as the maidservant of Srimati Radharani. And both are serving in the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So, he said it was Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur who directed the editor of this journal, meaning himself, to seek for the real knowledge of the teaching of the Supreme Lord Sri Gaura Kishore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He inspired me to go to Srila Gokshodas Babaji to receive that knowledge, even though to all outer sense it seemed that he was devoid even of knowledge of the alphabet. It will do no real good to us if we choose to be confused in the choice of our course by such apparently contradictory modes of life of the Paramahamsas, who are the God-sent transcendental saviors of all the fallen souls. It is the only thing needful for us to seek in all humility to be enlightened about the real significance of their appearance in this world. By accepting with a Shraddha, with faith, the assurance of the scriptures that the appearance of the sadhu is always for the redemption of all conditioned souls, and especially of those who are most unworthy. When Gargacharya was sent by Vasudeva Maharaj from Mathura to Gokul to perform the name-giving ceremony of Shri Krishna, because Vasudeva Maharaj is thinking that boy in Gokul is my son, and have swapped the baby of Yashoda at birth. I replaced him with my son. Nanda Maharaj does not know, but I will send my priest to do the Namkaran Sanskar. So when Gargacharya came to Gokul, Mahavan, then Nanda Baba received him most respectfully. I said, Mahadvicharnam Nrinam Grihinam Dina Chetasam Nishrayasaya Bhagavan Nanyatra Kalpate Kochit. Oh Bhagavan, that means not God, that means fortunate person. Oh most fortunate sage, Gargacharya. Great saints like you always wander here and there, visiting the homes of fallen grihastas like me. Nanda Maharaj is saying. So, and he said, but I know that such persons as yourself, you come Nisrayasaya. Nisrayasaya means for the purpose of Nisraya. Sraya means auspiciousness, great fortune. Nisraya means the Nishesh Rupain, unlimitedly great fortune. You are traveling here and there, visiting the homes of fallen persons like me, only to bestow upon me an endless, priceless, eternal, spiritual fortune. Nanyata kalpate kvachit. Anyone should not even imagine that it is for any other reason. The ordinary persons who are afflicted with false ego, thinking, I am the doer, I am maintaining myself and others and so on. When they see sadhu coming, they think, who is this person? He is not competent enough to become successful in the real world. So he has become a dropout. And now he has no job, so he's going here and there and maintaining himself by begging. I am maintaining the sadhus. This is the mentality of the materialistic persons. So Nanda Baba is saying, this is not true. When sadhu comes to my home, that time I know he's not come to take anything. He's come only to give mercy. He's come in the form of a redeemer. He is saying, the only thing needful for us is to seek in all humility to be enlightened about the real significance of the appearance of the sadhu in this world, and accept with faith the assurance of the Shastra that the sadhu only appears for the redemption of the conditioned souls. So Nanda Baba is saying, don't even imagine that the sadhu has any other purpose than to give. Just to give benefit. If someone will give some pranami, then they are very lucky that they had the opportunity to give some pranami. Because this money is a poison. You have done karma for that. And this is the fruit of karma. So this money will bring the taste of the karma files. So, but all things are the energy and all are the treasures of Supreme Lord to be used in His service. Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say, when a festival came, some festival was coming, whatever, Janmashtami or Rasatini, Shingadashurdashi, they'd look how much money they have in the mouth. And he'd say, spend everything. Spend it. Why? Because Lakshmi is for the service of Narayana. And he would spend everything they have on bhog to make prasad and give to everyone. Flowers, banners, flags, all decorations, and for promoting, propaganda to promote the upcoming festival, everything. If everything is used in the service of Supreme Lord, Supreme Lord will give more and more. And if one is Kripana, miser, then we can get what we is owed to us by past punya. Or we will not get what we want due to the absence of past punya. So on. So, Sri Nanda Baba is saying, don't think sadhu is coming only to give that eternal, transcendental, spiritual benefit. So, the sadhu is always there for the redemption of the conditioned soul. This is the greatest miracle of all. We know that so many avatars came to this world. Lord Barahadev lifted up the earth from the Garbhadak ocean. Lord Matsya saved the Vedas from the ocean of the Pralaya, devastation. Lord Nishingadev saved the universe from the atrocities of Hiranyakashipu. In this way, each avatar came and performed some astonishing and miraculous feat that could not be achieved by any being other than the Supreme Lord. But what did Mahaprabhu do? Chanting and dancing. But yet he has performed the most wonderful miracle of all, the deliverance of Jagai and Madai. To, by mystic power, manipulate the situation in the physical plane. To some degree, yogis can do it. And to the greatest degree, to the nth degree, Yogeshwara, Sri Krishna, the Lord of all yogis, He can also do it. But to transform the heart of a living entity from a self-centered, selfish being who conceives of himself as a Purush, the enjoyer of matter, who conceives of himself as, what Srila Sridhar Maharaj used to say, an absorbing unit. There are two types of units: absorbing units and emanating units. So the living being in this world who considers I am Purush, the master and enjoyer, the controller of the material energy, he tries to engage in sense gratification. And by engaging in sense gratification, especially sex life, then he feels that I can control and enjoy the material energy. And this results in pride. I am the controller and enjoyer of the material energy. Essentially, pride is this. If we define it, it is Abhiman, the identity that I can control and enjoy my environment. And this is reinforced by the repeated engagement in sense gratification. So the more one engages in sense gratification, the more one becomes proud. So, the living entity considers himself to be an absorbing unit. That means he exists to absorb, to take pleasure from his environment. But actually, the jiva is an emanating unit. That means he exists to give service. As long as the living entity thinks, I am an absorbing unit, then he's envious of others. And he always lives in the fear of scarcity. That I have so much, but I will absorb it, and then I won't have any more. So I have to get some more things to absorb. So when there are millions of living entities all conceiving of themselves as absorbing units, then they are thrown into the plane of conflict over a limited amount of resources. That they're competing with each other to absorb. That's called the material world. But what the jiva does not know is that he's an emanating unit. He can give and give and give, and the more he gives, the more he'll have. This is the nature of spirit. You know, Jesus only had 5 loaves of bread. And he began to break it into pieces and give it to people. And he fed 5,000 people. And when they picked up the crumbs, it filled 12 baskets, which is more than the original 5 loaves. That was just the crumbs, the bits that the people didn't eat, that fell on the ground. It is there to illustrate that we are emanating units, we are spiritual beings. And we need not conform ourselves to the limitations of worldly mathematics. Maya means mriyate iti maya. Mriyate means it is measured. I have measured it, therefore it is Maya. Whatever we can measure is Maya. So the conditioned soul's consciousness is, Prabhupada calls it the measuring propensity. Everywhere we look, our eyes are measuring. How big? How heavy? How much? Measuring, measuring, measuring. Why? Because we think that we are absorbing entities. So we measure everything. Due to the fear of scarcity. So, this is the nature of the conditioned soul. How his nature will be completely transformed. And you realize, I am not Purush, I am Prakriti. I am not the enjoyer, I am to be enjoyed. Automatically, I can experience a joy which is far in excess of my own capacity by giving pleasure to the Supreme Lord instead of trying to squeeze it out of the dry bone that's already been chewed by 1,000 other dogs, known as this material world. Puna punaschavita chavananam. There's no scarcity. Prabhupada used to say, I don't accept the scarcity of anything. I don't accept the famine of anything in this world. There's only a famine of Harikatha. So he made a daily newspaper of Harikatha. Someone said, will you run out of things to say? He said, no, the news of the spiritual world is more news than in this world. In this world, no news. You know, the Yaksha asked Yudhishthira Maharaj, what is the news? He said, the news is this. Everyone is in the frying pan. Pass. That's the news. The headline on page 1, nothing else to say. So, how the living entity, who is Matena Krishne Parato Satova Mito Bibadeta Griha Bratanam. He's made a brat, he's made a sankalpa. I must enjoy the material world. How his heart will be changed. And he'll become Trinada Pisu Nich Bhav. Consider himself more worthless than a blade of grass. And be hankering at every moment to serve and give happiness to Supreme Lord and His paraphernalia, His associates. This is a miracle. And it can only be accomplished by the Kripa Shakti of the Supreme Lord. The Kripa Shakti of God, of all the wonderful Adbhut Gun, of all the Adbhut Gun of the Supreme Lord, wonderful qualities. The most wonderful is Kripa Shakti. And that was manifested in the Leela of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In fact, my Gurudev, in the 500th anniversary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, he wrote one book to commemorate that event. And there he said, the confidential meaning of the word Karunaya Vartinaha Anarpita Chirim Chirat Karunaya Vartinaha Kalo. Karunaya Vartinaha means that this incarnation appeared in this world out of mercy. One can say, well, all the incarnations appear out of mercy. That's a no-brainer. But then why is Rupa Goswami writing this? The secret is this, that when any incarnation or form of the Supreme Lord comes to this world, his Karun Shakti is under the control of his Icha Shakti. This is the relation. But when Mahaprabhu appears, his Icha Shakti is under the control of his Karun Shakti. It's another phenomenon entirely. So without discrimination, without seeing who is great and who is mean and low, he begins to do the unspeakable. Through his Naam Sankirtan, he makes Yamaraj unemployed. He puts the Yamadutas out of business. Not only that, this is only Anusangik, incidentally. But Chari Bhava Bhakti Diya Nachamu Bhavan, he makes the entire world dance, realizing 4 mellows of bhakti. And more than this, he gives something that was never given before by any incarnation ever, except for himself, on the previous day of Lord Brahma. Samarpaitum unnat ujjvala sabhakti sab. It is unspeakable. What he gives, the position of Balya Dasi of Radhika. Who are these Balya Dasis of Radhika? But think about it for a second. Who are they? Nandimukhi, she knows very well. She's the granddaughter of Purnamasi Jogamaya. So though she's in Brajalila, she knows Tattva Siddhanta. She's not covered over. She can be covered over at certain times according to the Leela if the necessity is there. But she knows the ontological realities of the personalities there. This is not problematic for her because she is one of the managers of the Leela there. Purnamasi Jogamaya, Brinda Devi, Nandimukhi. There are different aspects, Prakash of the Leela Shakti. So they have to be in the know in regard to certain things. It does not compromise their position as the participants in the Braj Leela, as it would with any other position of a gop or gopi in Braja. So Nandamukhi, she said, Vibhurapi Sukha Rupa Swapakashopi bhava Shanamapi nahi radha Krishnayoya ritesva Pravahati rasa pushtim Chid vibhuti rivesha Srayatina padamasam Kasakinam rasagya Rasagya Ka rasagya. What person who is rasagya, what person who knows rasa, will not take shelter of the lotus feet of the Sakhis of Radha and Krishna? Why? Vibhurapi Sukharupa. Even though the bhav, the love of Radha and Krishna is vibhu, that means all-pervading and the greatest, having no room for expansion. Vibhurapi Sukharupa, their bhav is the direct embodiment of all joy. Swapakashopi bhava. Their bhav is also self-manifested, is swapakash. But still, Shanamapi nahi Radha Krishnayoya ritesva. Radha and Krishna, they cannot, even for a moment, enjoy their pastimes without the Sakhis. If you think that Radha Krishna, being alone, can be in some kunj anywhere, alone, and their lila is going on forever, and they will experience happiness. Take this idea out of your mind. It's completely incorrect. Completely incorrect. Why? Nandimukhi is explaining. Pravahati rasa pushtim chid vilasa iresha. In Vaikuntha, Lord Narayan is there. And Lord Narayan, he enjoys his pastimes. He personally feels happiness and he gives happiness to others. By what? Chid Vibhuti Vilas. His Chid Vibhuti, his divine transcendental opulences are transforming and fulfilling all of his desires and the desires of his devotees. That is called the Chid Vibhuti of the Parameshwara, of God. He is performing all this by which he becomes happy and all the devotees are happy. So here Nandimukhi is saying that the maidservants and the Sakhis, Laliti Vishaka, Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari, they are the Chid Vibhuti of Radha and Krishna. By which all their desires become fulfilled and desires of the devotees become fulfilled. But they appear like cowherd girls. But they actually they're Chid Vibhuti. And especially the dasis of Radha and Krishna, how they serve them in such a marvelous way. When Radha and Krishna are alone, Rupa Manjari is there, Rati Manjari, and others. Tambulapana, giving tambul, fanning, bringing cool, refreshing water, spraying them in sandalwood paste when they're too hot, without any fear or hesitation or shyness. Krishna, he associates his meeting with Radhika with their presence. So if Krishna just walking in the fields of Vrindavan will see one of them, then Uddipana. Krishna is also rasic. So the Vishaya of his rasa is a Radhika. And the Ashrais are those who love and serve Radhika. Only seeing them, Krishna becomes overwhelmed with love for Radhika. Even before they do any service, just their very existence makes him remember his Nikunj Leela with Radhika. How can Krishna ever repay them? Seeing the expert way in which they serve Radharani, Krishna's watching, thinking, I'd like to try that. When a conditioned soul is wandering in this material world, and they meet Brahmande Brahmate Kon Bhagavan Ji Guru Krishna Prasadi Pai Bhakti Lata Bij, after many lifetimes, they meet a pure Vaishnava sadhu, and by that association they receive Bhakti Lata Bij. That is Krishna Seva Vasana. The desire to serve Krishna in a particular way. But when Krishna sees the maidservants of Radharani, then he gets Radha Seva Vasana. His desires to serve Radharani in new ways are inspired by their presence and seeing their very expert services. So what happened? Krishna became mad. His Icha Shakti, which was controlling his Karun Shakti, receded and took the humble position. His Karun Shakti became in control of his Icha Shakti. And Anarpita Charim Chirat Karunaya Vartina Kalo Samarpayatum Unnata Ujjvala Samsara Sakti Siyam. He appeared in this world as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And by his Kripa Shakti, he was redeeming everyone without discrimination. And on top of that, he was giving this unspeakable confidential position, the fragrance of it which is very difficult to discover anywhere in the Vedas. What to speak of doing a sadhana to attain this love? Before the appearance of Mahaprabhu, no one had even heard of it, let alone attained it or tried to attain it. I am not telling Prabodhananda Saraswati this story. Chaitanya Chandramrita. So, Mahaprabhu is the Redeemer. Not only to change a person, but to give the greatest gift. So he said, Guru Krishna Rupahaya Shastra Pramane Guru Rupe Krishna Kripa Karen Bhaktagani. Sri Guru is Krishna Rupa, a form of Krishna. What form? Guru Rupe Krishna Kripa Karen Bhaktagani. Guru is the form of Krishna's Kripa. So Sri Guru is called Krishna Kripa Sri Murti, the direct condensed embodiment of the Kripa Shakti of Sri Krishna, who has come before us. So if we can establish our sambandha, relation with Sri Guru, as all relations in this world are based on sense gratification. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. If you don't scratch my back, it's finished. It's a material world. If anyone is in a relation, but they don't give the sense gratification to each other, there's no relation. Because that's the foundation of the relationship. So as all the material relations are based on sense gratification, the transcendental relations are based only on seva. They're not based on how close, near or physically far. Or time, space or time, or anything. Only on one thing, seva vritti. So if one can establish a seva sambandha with a Sri Krishna Kripa Sri Murti, then one must be redeemed. Because the power of redemption is manifest there to completely transform the person in the abhiman of Purush, and I am the absorbing unit, into the emanating unit. I am of Para Prakriti, Jiva is Para Prakriti. And I exist for the enjoyment and pleasure of Radha and Krishna only. That is my true Swarup, divine nature, my identity. For this reason, the sadhu appears in this world. Therefore, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur continued, there is no humility except the sincere disposition to submit unconditionally unto such a servant of the Supreme Lord. This is humility. There is no humility outside of this. All other shows of humility is simply hypocritical, being a function of the conditioned state in which we do not know the truth. Until we know the truth, how can we avoid to be hypocritical in all of our professions of duty? The proper attitude in such circumstances is the one exhibited by Srila Sanatana Goswami Prabhu when he approached the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with his sincere inquiry for being enlightened ab initio, means from the very beginning, regarding the nature of the self and his duty. Srila Sanatana Goswami, he simply said, Apana rahita hita kichu na jani, kramya vyavahara panditai satyamani. I have no idea what is good for me and what is detrimental for me. Yet in common dealings with the general populace, everyone thinks I am a pandit. But actually, Kayami jaritapatrai, iyana hijani kamani hitahai. But who am I? I don't even know who I am. What kind of pandit I am. If you have to fill in any form, the first question is always, what is your name? Can you answer this question? You want to make application at the university, first you have to write your name. Can you answer this first question? Then what kind of academic scholar are you? So this is what Sanatana Goswami was saying. Kayami. They all call me a pandit, but Kayami, who am I? I don't know even. Kene am I and why am I suffering? If I don't know these things, how will there be any benefit and auspiciousness in my life? Therefore, sadhya sadhana tattva puchitena jani kripa kori sabatattva koita hapani. Sanatana Goswami Pad, he said, I don't even know how to pose questions in regard to the goal of life and the method to attain it. So just be merciful to me and you explain everything. This is, Srila Prabhupada is referring to how Sanatana Goswami approached Mahaprabhu with a sincere inquiry to be enlightened ab initio. It's Latin, means from the beginning. He said, I don't know anything. Regarding the nature of his self and duty. The editor, Prabhupada, who is writing, was directed by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur to receive the knowledge of truth from Babaji Maharaj, Srila Gokishora Das Babaji Maharaj, who was unread in the Shastric literature of this country. But Srila Gokishora Das Babaji was realized by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur as the Acharya of Sambandha Gyan. The Acharya, the Diksha Guru, is the manifestation of Sanatana Goswami, the Acharya of Sambandha Gyan. Here's the connections are coming one by one. As the Acharya of Sambandha Gyan, that is exercising the function of Srila Sanatana Goswami for imparting to the fallen conditioned souls the realization of the nature of their real selves. To understand Maya Tattva, Jiva Tattva, Brahma Tattva. Not only the Sadharana Sambandha Gyan, the general knowledge of which is common to all, but also Vishesh Sambandha Gyan, the particular realization of one's own relation with Krishna. every jiva has a relation with Krishna. And it is only by the submissive and humble, sincere, niskapat, niswarta, selfless and non-duplicitous service of the Diksha Guru that the Vishesh Sambandhagan, this actual realization of one's own individual and unique loving relationship with Krishna is awakened in the heart by the power of Krishna's Kripa Shakti flowing through Krishna Kripa Srimurti, Sri Gurudev. So we'll continue with this katha. Actually, it is very appropriate and wonderful that under the guidance of Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, we are hearing about Guru Tattva. Because the day after tomorrow is the divine transcendental Tirabhav Titi, disappearance day of my holy master. Nitilila Pravishta Om Vishwabhad Ashto Tarasata Shishimat Rupanugacharya Varya Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami. So the day after tomorrow we will celebrate, as we did on Prabhupada's disappearance day, the temple room with the puja of whole Gurudev and whole Parampara. So you have to arrange everything, you and your team, in the temple room. Tomorrow we will go, we want to leave from here at 1 o'clock. So make your arrangements to honor prasadam. They're serving here what time? Half 12? 1 to 1?
Yeah.
Or they're serving at 1 here?
Yeah.
At 1. Okay, so at 1, honor, and then quickly by 1:15 or 1:20. You must have everything ready before. And we will go as close to 1 o'clock as possible from here to the town of Gokul on the other side of Jamuna in Mahavan. And there our dear friend in the line of the great Vallabhacharya, he is waiting there for us to give a tour of the very marvelous places of spiritual significance in that Mahavan. So everything will be surprise. He's planned some surprises. I don't know what it will be. But he has given a guarantee that no one will be disappointed. So, and he said there's so many things to do that we'll probably run out of time. So, we'll see. So, you can honor the Mahaprasad here, or you can make something yourself, or go somewhere else. If everyone can be ready at 1, so we can be there by 2, and start the, okay? So if it means you have to cook yourself or whatever, no, because he's doing things so too. We have to arrive there too. So 1 o'clock, by 1, everyone who's going, please be ready. I need to know who's going. Boy, is Vanamali not here? Oh, it's easy to say. Raise your hand if you're not going.
Oh, you go with one.
Being Saturday, I'm stuck between the criminal to not come.
It's Saturday tomorrow.
Tomorrow, when after your call, I was devastated.
Oh, then you realize you cannot go. So you're not going. Sure. Okay, so we have... Yeah, we'll have to get a bus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We have about 19 plus Banamali 20, and maybe if you have some other friends or anything who are not here at the moment,